Hi, I'm Willie with H5 Technology. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. And what we are going to talk about today is Reolink security cameras and Reolink the NVR. Reolink was nice enough to send me a couple of units for evaluation. The first thing they sent me is the RLC 410, which is a 4 megapixel bullet. Now, we're going to look at the spec page for this. On here, it doesn't say anything about an SD card slot. On the website, it does. I emailed. All of their cameras are going to have SD card slots. So I guess before we get too far, I'll show you the box for the NVR. But then I want to talk about some of my requirements for cameras going forward. So then I also have the 2 terabyte NVR. Comes in this box. And it has 8 ports on the back that can provide PoE to the camera. So we're going to plug in the NVR. After I show you the unit, we look at the specs and everything. And we're going to plug it into the network. We're going to power the camera. And we're going to see how we like it. So before we get into this too much, so previously we've deployed other manufacturers' cameras, but going forward for the customers, unless the customer is absolutely 100% sold on a solution and doesn't want to hear about anything else, I've got some requirements that when I'm looking at manufacturers that systems need to meet. One, I want to be able to do edge recording. Now, that's not a deal breaker, but it is very, 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 very high on the want list. The other 2 items I'm going to talk about are pretty much deal breakers. I need granular user control, right? So my permissions need to be able to be set up besides delete and view, things like that, just simple permissions. I need a way that I can just have access to one camera and view footage but not download. I need to be able to do some of those things. And for those of you who are going, well, why would you do that? You know, yes, somebody can take out their phone, they can record the screen, but if I have corporate policies built that say you cannot download this video and somehow you leak this video, then it's on you. But me as the company, as the owner, as the installer, I have done everything right to make sure that you don't download that video. If you go around those, if you skirt those rules, that's on you. And then, other actions can take place to deal with that. And then also OwnVIF support. So, we got to be able to use multiple NVR systems. Got to be able to do things besides grab RTSP streams. So, all right. So, this is the RLC 410. So let's take a look at the specs on the website of this, and then I'll show you what comes in the box. So right here it tells us ours is the 4 megapixel. And let's see. So here is the 410 with the 4 megapixel, so we can do live video streaming, video clips. No details will be missed. And it's an excellent night vision camera, so it's got 18 infrared LEDs, and the night vision is supposed to work at 100 feet. Now, we are going to put that to the test. We're actually going to mount this out on the garage. We're going to be setting up the network. I have some 60 gigahertz point-to-point links that are going to be showing up, so we can bring the garage onto the network and extend the network. And this camera will go on the garage. So we are going to get a chance to see this. It is going to be a daily driver. It's got an 80-degree viewing angle. There is an app for your smartphone. You can do email notifications, app push, FTP, and then it says SD card. It comes with an SD card slot for card motion recording, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. They talk about how simple it is to set it up, and it is supposed to be really simple. So they keep talking about the SD card. So my camera does not have this slot on the back. So what I was wondering is if I needed to remove the screws, and if the SD card slot was living, kind of behind that. So let's take a look at the camera. This is the RLC 410, the 4 megapixel version, and I'm going to show you what comes in the box. I've already got everything out. There's the box. So the first thing that you get is you get the camera, and it is it's metal. If you can hear that. On the bottom it tells us It tells us the model. You've got your QR code so you can scan to set it up with your app. It's got the username and password, power by PoE, made in China. It's got these set screws so that you can do all the adjustments that you want. You don't just have to power it by PoE. It does come with a couple different options here. So here, this is your PoE plug. And then you've got a standard power barrel. And then you have the reset button is what this is. So if you've got this camera mounted and you need to reset it for some reason, you can just use this reset button. That's actually pretty handy. And then it's got, you know, here's your mounting holes, and there's a little foam here. So overall, I like the construction of this camera. I think some of the other YouTubers have reviewed this camera, but I don't know if any of them have taken the screws out of the back and pulled this apart to see if we can put an SD card in there. But let me show you what else comes in the box, and then we're going to do that. So with the camera, you get an Ethernet cable. You get mounting hardware, so you got some screws in there. You've also got the anchors, and then it comes with an Allen wrench to adjust the camera. We'll take a look at that. And then it's got the weatherproofing for the PoE plug. Then we get a little bag of propaganda. So there is a quick start mobile app guide, which we are not going to do right now. Then you get this Reolink 24-hour security sticker. I love stickers, by the way. And then I love it when companies include these mounting cards. It saves me from having to do photocopying and make my own, and it's just, when you look inside of a box and you see that, you smile. And then you get a what's next guide, and this comes with all of their items. So before we move on to the NVR to get this guy powered up, let's take it apart and see if there's an SD card slot on it. All right, so just so you know, things could get cringy here. And Reolink, when I emailed and asked about this, they said that, you know, this model did not have an SD card slot. So I'm attempting to take the screws out of the back of this guy to pull it apart to see if there's a hidden SD card slot on the inside, because I am these days really into recording at the edge. Alright, that one's loose. You don't want to see me take these screws out, so I will be right back. Alright, so I told you this was going to be cringy. Now, I don't know if I just voided my warranty or what, but you can see here is the IR array. They got a lot of little silica bags in there, you know, that stuff that comes in to keep things dry that you're not supposed to eat. I'll let you take a look at this. And then I'm going to inspect it to see if there's an SD card slot. I suspect that this model could be short the SD card slot, just like my contact told me. But reading their website, I thought, well, let's just roll the dice, right? So, but yeah, I do not see SD card slot. Now, my contact did tell me that all of the cameras from now on are going to have an SD card slot. So this one doesn't. So the new ones are all going to meet that requirement for me, which is that edge recording. Now, I don't know if this one's got any built-in memory or not. We're going to find out when we get it fired up. So I guess what we could do is we could plug this in before we plug the NVR in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back together. We'll go ahead and we'll power it up. We'll get it on the network. We'll look at the interface. And then while that's booting, I'll show you the NVR. So stay tuned. Okay, so word to the wise, if you do take your Reolink camera apart, make sure that you have the proper size screwdriver, because those screws are a mother. And you have to have, you know, a weatherproof seal, right? Especially if it's going to be outside. All right, so the next thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at this 2 terabyte Reolink NVR. So put this this guy up here. So the camera is to the right of me. It's actually on this laser engraver that Banggood sent me that I'm going to be doing a review on. But what's in the box? Alright, so the first thing that you get is you get another box inside of the box. We'll get into that in a second. So you get an HDMI cable. So this can go HDMI out to TV, monitor, whatever you want to hook it up to. Then, as always, you get the What's Next guide with Reolink. Then you get a quick start poster that, let's open this up. Let's see here. So it tells you how to plug everything in. It tells you how to go out and get the app. They're big on the app. We are going to try to connect to this over the network. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but that is what we are going to try. Lots of information, lots of good information here on the Quick Start Guide. And this thing is, for the price point, this thing, 2 terabyte NVR for less than $300. That's phenomenal. And it does power the cameras. We'll get into that here in a second. But here's our accessory box. So in the accessory box, we get our AC adapter. That's important. We get a mouse. They send you a mouse. And we get our Ethernet cable. So let's take a look at the NVR itself. Alright, let's see. So this is the NVR. It's not very big. What do I have to compare it to? Okay, here we go. So here's my LG G6, right? My LG G6. Let me see. And then here's their Reolink NVR. So it's not very big. It is smaller than most modern, about the same size as most modern DVD players, I would say. So you can see on the front, it's got the logo, USB port. Over here you've got some controls to flip through cameras, things like that. And then over here, that's where the logo is, USB. This appears to be, what is that? Is that an IR? Yeah, it appears to be IR. You've got a power indicator, hard drive indicator. So, and then here you can control playback of the camera. You can view all cameras. We'll flip this guy around. And over here you're going to see DC 48 volt in. You got audio out, USB, HDMI, VGA. You can hook eSATA to this, right? So we could slap this guy right onto Synology. Over here we've got our LAN port. And then over here we've got the PoE ports 1 through 8. Take a look at the bottom of this guy. Comes with little rubber legs. Looks like, if you really wanted to get creative, looks like there's some mounting holes on there. You can mount this guy up somewhere. Remember, it does have a hard drive. It's pretty hefty, so it probably has a spinning disc in it, I would imagine. We'll take it apart here in a second. And then on the top, it tells you, this little attention sticker says, plug NVR power supply first, then connect VGA HDMI. Unplug NVR power supply first if you want to disconnect VGA. So they must be doing some sort of protection for something going on with the electric there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take all the screws out of this thing, and we're going to take a look at the inside real quick. So I will be right back. All right, so the top is off. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws holding that guy on there. This thing is built pretty solid. So here is the inside of the NVR. So there is a big spinning disc in here. It's a 2 terabyte. It is a Toshiba drive. Excuse me. This one appears to be manufactured May 2018, so Toshiba is still making hard drives. Warranty void, blah, blah, blah. It is a SATA 6 drive. So it is 2 terabyte. I don't know if it's a 7200 RPM drive. I don't know those little details. But then here's your motherboard. In the back up here you can see this is where our PoE ports are going to be. You got all your other connections. So it's pretty simple. I don't know how much memory this thing's got or any of those specs. We can probably look that up real quick. So let's go over here to the 8-channel page, and you can see that this is meant to work with the 5 and 4 megapixel cameras. It's 8 channels, 2 terabyte hard drive, PoE, and the MSRP on this guy is only $229.99 for 2 terabytes with PoE. That is a, to me, I mean, that seems pretty reasonable. One thing that cracks me up, let me bring this up real quick, and it just the graphic there, I just noticed it. So you see, usually when we see this cut into metal, we see a fan, right? But this guy's fanless, and it's just got a big ass heat sink there on what I can assume is the CPU. But I mean, this thing is sturdy. I mean, we're gonna see how we like it. All right, so 24/7 continuous recording. Support all cameras recording at the same time. If you want to record longer, try motion detection. So 8 cameras, works with all of the 5 and 4 megapixel cameras. The Reolink NVRs are designed for Reolink security cameras only. So we may be getting into a situation. Now, I don't know if that means that they are meant to power them only. I'm not sure. I do have some Dahua cameras, and we can try to put a Dahua on here and see what happens. But they do have PTZ cameras. They have a full range of cameras. And we can compare it with the non-PoE. So, you know, you get all your propaganda here. 2-year warranty. That's nice. 24/6 online support, so they must be closed one day. 30-day money-back guarantee. Free shipping. So, enough with all of the propaganda. By the way, Reolink did not pay me for this. They did send me the gear, and I am going to use it. I am evaluating it. Security cameras is one thing where I'm going to be evaluating a lot of options. There are a lot of companies out there, and there's a lot of things that you need to watch out for, you know, and be aware of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back together real quick. Then we're going to hop over to the single camera. Then we're going to plug this guy in, power the camera from it, and yeah, we're going to see what happens here. Be right back. Okay, so I found the camera on the network, and I pulled it up with Firefox, and I pulled it up with Google, but it wants Flash Player. So that's one thing I'm not crazy about, but if you're just going to use it with their NVR, that may not be a deal breaker for you. It's not really a deal breaker for me, but I don't know. I've got Internet Explorer open, so we'll log in and we'll take a look here. So by default, the username is admin, no password. Then they want to know what kind of a stream type we want, clear, fluent, or balanced. We'll leave it at balanced and we'll log in. So now you can see that once this loads, that the stream that we've got, this is actually, I don't know if you can see my hand over here. So this is actually the laser cutter, and you can see the laser beam right there. Freaking lasers! So it was the worst. Anyway, so it appears that it has grabbed information from an NTP server somewhere, because I did not give it the time and date. Or perhaps it has some other internal mechanism for that. But let's take a look at some of the settings. And it looks like there's audio here, and I don't want that at all. So I'm going to turn that down. I don't know if I can, what the stop is. What's the stop? So it's, oh, I can pause the stream, or I can start the stream. Yeah, the button to restart it didn't work there, so interesting. Is it still paused? Nope. Okay, came back up. Alright, so then over here on the right, we've got Advanced Settings, Camera 1. So this is going to be our Reolink. Trying to come up with, you know, Rio Garage 1. Position lower right, that's fine. So we'll go ahead and save that. And we can see the name change to Rio Garage 1 down there. We got our encoder settings, so we are not recording audio. That was unchecked by default, which that's fantastic. Stream is clear or fluent. Here's our resolution that we are shooting at here. You can see we can go down to 1080p all the way up to this 2560 by 1440. Our frame rates per second, bit rate, and our H.264 profile. And then we can adjust all of the image settings here. I'm just going to leave it like that. We're going to run a print here in a second. Anti-flicker's off. Everything is auto or off. So the menu is it's really pretty easy here. Well, we can go center there. Okay, we can take a snapshot there. So that's pretty nifty. I like that. All right, so under settings, what do we have? We have our on-screen display. So we can, that's the same thing we were just kind of dealing with. We can apparently apply a mask or control-click to remove a single mask. So not sure how to add a mask to it yet. I could probably read the book, but let's take a look at our encoder settings. This is the same thing. A lot of this is the same stuff that was under that basic and advanced. Under network, we've got general, we've got advanced. So you can see right here we support OwnVIF, which is fantastic. UPnP, HTTPS. So it does support HTTPS. It also has RTSP. I'm glad to see these settings in there. That makes me happy. Here's our status. We've got alarm, so we can do motion alarm. We've got detection. So here's our grid where we can do our motion detection. Oh, that is fantastic. This is our sensitivity. Under system, we've got general. We are not in central, or we're not Pacific. We are in, that's hilarious. It is center time. Center time. All right, so we'll select that. Okay, everything was changed. I don't know if the time and date's going to automatically update. Daylight savings time, the bane of our existence here. It did. It automatically updated. DST needs to be enabled because it is still an hour behind. I don't know the days off the top of my head, so I'm just going to leave it like that for now. We've got more information here. Configuration, firmware. I don't know if there's a newer firmware yet. We'll have to check all that out. Performance, CPU load. We're at 15%. And we can reboot. Oh, auto reboot or manual reboot. That's fantastic. That I like that. Here's our online user. Where are we logged in from? We can add a user, and you've got administrator or guest. We can show the password, and we can manage users. We can modify. Or we can delete. We're going to leave that alone for now. Since we haven't put this into production, we are going to leave the default username just for now. We're going to go back to this preview, and real quick, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to fire up this print. So let's take a look and see. I mean, it looks really good. It's got a super accurate representation. Now, I'm sure if we were shooting out, of course, you're going to be able to see my hand over there again. But if we were shooting out, which we will see once we do this live install with the NVR in the garage, I'm sure that this picture is going to be even more crisp. We can probably take the camera apart and do an adjustment on the lens if we have to. So, okay, that's cool. I'm going to go ahead and stop this. And yeah, so the camera, the settings are pretty, I mean, straightforward. There's nothing like that you have to be like a genius to understand here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fire up the NVR. We're going to connect to the NVR, and we're going to power the camera from the NVR. So we'll see how that all works. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pause this video, I'm going to get everything shuffled around, plugged in, and we will be right back. Alright, we're back. I've got the NVR back here behind me. The hard drive light is blinking, power is on. I do have a camera plugged into the back. That's the same camera. It's over here. Now, for those of you who are wondering, we had this. I had this camera plugged in for about a half hour. Some people may want to know how warm this camera gets, and the camera is at 90 degrees. So not bad at all. I'm sure outside and under the right conditions it will get way hotter than that. So I went out, I found the IP of the NVR. The NVR wants me to left click the following icon and download and upgrade the plugin. Please restart the browser after the upgrade. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to download the DVR web client. Now, could it be a trap? Sure, but Reolink has a lot to lose by being shady like that, so I don't think that that's the case. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to install this, and then we'll be right back. Alright, so I installed the plugin. I tried Chrome, Firefox. It still wanted me to do the plugin, so I thought, okay, we'll go back to Internet Explorer. It works in IE. I'm sure I can make it work in Firefox, but I wanted to kind of like, if you buy this, this is what you're going to experience, like right out of the box, right? So, like I said, I'm sure I can make it work, but, you know, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. So we've got Internet Explorer open, and we're going to go ahead and log in. And I connected the camera to one of these ports. And so what we need to do is we need to set the camera up and see. Let's see, live view. So it's not. So I think it's here, but why aren't we seeing anything here? Ah, there it goes. So there is the camera for sure. And I had to double click on it. It wasn't showing up in the live view. I'm not sure you know what that's all about. Let's go to an 8 camera view. Okay, so now it's showing up after I double clicked on it. After I double clicked on the channel, it is showing up. So what do we got down here? We've got the playback, the pause playback. We can go to different pages of cameras. Up here on this, we can do the center again. We can do digital zoom. We can capture. We can start a recording. So let me start recording. Start recording has succeeded. So let me pull this guy up real quick. We'll start this again. So, alright. I'm going to let it record a little bit. And you saw the little motion icon over here, which means it senses motion. So I am going to go ahead. I can stop the live view. I'm going to stop the recording. So the recording has been stopped. I'm going to stop this guy again. Poor laser. I'm kind of torturing this thing, but in the end, we'll all be better off. So let's go to the playback. Let's see here. Double click on that, and you can see right here, once I double clicked on the device tree down here, I've got this little bit of blue down here. So we'll go ahead and play this. Let's see where it started. Not getting any playback here. Shouldn't be this difficult, but we'll have to figure that out. So I would say that the playback part of this is not as intuitive as some other systems. Do I have to drag this over here? Thought maybe. This little blue should indicate that we've got video here, right? So trying the playback, I got nothing here. Nothing, nada. So that's strange. The phone app probably, I would imagine the phone app probably works a little better. But we'll have to load this guy up. The live view definitely works when you bring the cameras in there. So that I'm not sure. Like I said, I may just have to read the guide on that. All right, basic settings. We got our on-screen display encoding, so it's pulling those settings from the camera. So the settings that we had on that are they're pulled over into the NVR. We can take a look at the NVR here. We are using 36% of the memory, 12% of the CPU. Let's take a look at our local settings. There's a download path. That's for our machine recording. Oh, wait a minute. So maybe that recording went to, I don't know, maybe it went to my machine. We'll have to check that out here in a second. Let's check that out real quick. So the folders were definitely they were definitely created, but there's nothing in them yet. So we'll have to we'll keep playing around with this because we are going to deploy this. It's not like I'm just taking it out, showing it to you, going to put it back in the box, put it on the shelf. This thing is going to become a daily driver. So I need to understand how to use it. So we're going to keep plugging away here. All right, so that was our local settings. So let's take a look at the system settings. Holy cow, look at this. Now we're starting to get into some stuff here. So what we've got, display, camera, channel 01. Okay. We can also set up that privacy mask. So if there are certain areas you don't want to record, that's what the privacy mask does. So if I didn't want to record anything right there on the screen, the privacy mask blocks that. So there are some places that you can't record. So I could block this out. If I only wanted to get the middle of the laser cutter, then I would clear those, and then you would have no idea what's going on the other side. That's fantastic. All right, so output. Our output, oh, and it opens a new tab for each of those, and there's a little X to close that. So you got a transparency, mouse, sensitivity. So this must be the display output on the device itself. Got encoding options here. Other options. So options: overwrite, pre-record, post-record 2 minutes, pack duration 60 minutes. That was that. All right. So schedule. So here we can enable the schedule, normal or motion or none. And then we can copy that, looks like, to all the other channels. Online user shows who is logged in. So we can add a user. And check this out. So these are all of the things. These are all of the security options that users have. So you can see that this is pretty comprehensive. We're going to have to play with this once we get it deployed and set up a user that can view the video but not download it. So we will come back to that once we get it deployed. We can do our manage user. So, and that's one thing that I'm noticing is that the language that they use in the cameras, they also use in the NVR, which is good. So you've got that symmetry, and that once you know one product, you can transition it to another. That makes things really easy for everybody. All right, so we got our general network set up, and right now we have it on DHCP. There's some advanced stuff here. Okay, so NTP, so we can do dynamic DNS, but here's the NTP, and I actually want to change this. I want to do ntp.uiuc.edu. For those of you that don't know what that is the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, Champaign-Urbana, and they have the National Supercomputing Lab down there. We're going to go ahead and hit synchronize on that. We can set up email. So here's our email options, and we will do that. We are not going to use Gmail, but we are going to do that. There's FTP. Doesn't look like you can do secure FTP. Port settings, so we can change all of those ports. UID enable, UPnP. That's fantastic. All right, we've got our network status. Over here, we've got motion alarms, so we can set up all those motion alarms again. Video loss alarm. So if you lose video, it notifies you. That's fantastic. We got some exceptions. Hard drive full. Do we want an audio warning? Send an email. Show an exception. Hard drive error. Same thing. Network disconnected. IP conflict. That's fantastic that we can get those kind of notifications. All right, under system we have general setup. So this is where we set our time zone and all that. So here it is central time. In the camera it is center time, and that's fine. That's fine. Daylight savings time, enable password, device name, Rio NVR1. Go ahead and OK to that. Information. So here's the device name, build, model, firmware, all that good stuff. We got maintenance, so we can do an auto reboot. We can export our configuration. We can upgrade our firmware. That's nice. We can reboot. We can do a log search. That's fantastic. I like that right there. And then if we've got pan, tilt, zoom cameras, we can do some configuration there. And then here is our hard drive setup. So that is fantastic. I think I'm going to get along with the system. I think I'm going to get along with it. I wanted you to see it. Like I said, we are going to make this a daily driver. You can see that the motion icon over there is detecting motion. It sees me talking with my hands. And I don't know if you can. I'm pointing like you can see, but so it does see it. So like I said, I've got some 60 gigahertz stuff coming in on this next week, and then we're going to walk through how I'm going to extend my network from the house to the garage. And then this guy is going to be the daily driver in the garage. So we're going to get the weather tested, the whole bit. So that's it. I wanted to give you a little bit of exposure to Reolink. I don't have a super ingrained opinion yet. Now, they are, as a company, they're doing things I like. They have edge recording, they support OwnVIF, and they have those granular user permissions. How granular? I don't know yet. What's the edge recording look like? I don't know yet. But they're checking the boxes, right? And they've got PoE, they've got some wireless cameras. So we're going to check them out. We're going to vet them. We're going to see if they're going to fit for our solutions. So that's it for now. If you like this video, make sure that you come back and check out the video. After we get this set up, we get it in the garage. So it's not going to take us real long to do that. I'm going to start burning these videos out so that we can get this stuff set up. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please comment and share. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram. If you need network camera, network security, voice over IP, network configuration, consulting, any type of programming or anything like that, you can head over to h5llc.com, fill out that contact form, and we will get back with you as soon as possible. If you want to use any of the gear that you see here or buy the gear that you see on the channel, we do have that Amazon link down below. If you want to talk to us live, we do have a Discord channel down below. Charlie's our admin. He does a fantastic job. And as always, I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll see you in the next video.